ಸಂಸಾರದಾವ ನಲಲಿಡಲೋಕ ತ್ರಾಣಾಯ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಗಣ ಗಣ ತ್ವಂ प्रप्तस्य कल्याण गुणर्नवस्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् महाप्रभो कीर्तन नित्य गीता वादित्रमाद्यान् मनसो रसेना रोमाञ्चकम्पा श्रुतरङ्गबाजो वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतान्मन्दिरमजनादो युक्तस्य भक्तां च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत्प्रसादा स्वादन्न तृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्गान् कृतैव तृप्तिं भजता सदैव वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीराधिकामाधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नाम् प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् निकुञ्जयुनो रतिकेलिसेद्यै यायालिभियुक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रादिदाक्षात् अतिवल्लभास्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षादरित्वेन्द समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तास्तथा भाव्यत एव साध्वी किन्तु प्रभोजा प्रिय एव तास्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादान्न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायान्सु वास्यं तस्य यशस्श्रीसान्द्यं वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् 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 नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपेस्ताय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय राधा नील माधव राधा नील माधव राधे, जयो जगन्नाथा जयो बलदेवा जयो सुभद्रमा जयो सुदर्शना, जयो सीताराम जयो सीताराम जयो सीताराम जयो लक्ष्मण हनुमान, जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
ISKCON PPT Bhaktivedanta Institute founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Shripada Paramahamsa Prajakacharya Ashtota Shata Shri Srimati Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Premi se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. Gaura Premanande. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glory to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimha Bahir Narsimha Hrudaye Narsimha Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade Tava Karakamalavare Adbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Nara Adbhuta Sringa Nita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshava Krita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jai जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवतीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद जय भक्ता प्राणा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल
देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ये अभिलाषी राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ये अभिलाषी जे तुम्हार शरण लो तारा वंश पूर्ण हो कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावनवासी মোরা এই বিলাস বিলাস কুঞ্জে দিও বাস। নয়নে হেরিব সদা যুগল রূপরাশি। এই নিবেদন ধরো সখিরানুগত করো, সেবাধিকার দিয়ে করো নিজ দাসী। দীন কৃষ্ণ দাসে কই ন মোরা হয়, শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদা ন বাসী। শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদা ন বাসী। নমো নমঃ তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সী। নমো নমঃ। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi. जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Shri Vrindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pratidevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Shri Vrindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pratidevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Shri Vrindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pratidevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Shri Vrindadevi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai.
O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire is in the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Wherever take shelter you has Vishnu field. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident in Vrindavana. My desire also grant me residence in the precious court of Shiva and Dhamma. Thus within my vision I shall behold the beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow Kara Danso Vraja. Please give me the privilege devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love, Shri Radha and Govinda, Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting holy names that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods, the Lord Shiva or Brahma, to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Veda literature or to pursuance of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities, offering the Veda the fruit activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about God's holy name. 10. To not complete faith in chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us with most humble obeisances on all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They which desire truth, which is the spirit of the one, and they full of compassion upon the conditioned souls. Vancha kalpa tarupyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Sadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Paravijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakali Bahuta Nitya Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranina Kalaha Etadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudevami Tisham Yahajanina Nuragaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manatena Kirtaniya Sata Harihi Nathanam Najanam Nasundarin Kavitam Vajagati Shakamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Twai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sithaturi Satesha Vichintaya Nayanam Karadashuru Dharaya Vadanam Kadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakaya Nichitam Vapur Kada Tava Nama Kahane Bhavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name ashrisava padaratam pinnastumam adarsanam marmhatam karotuva Yatha tatha va vidatatu lampato mad prana nathastu sa eva na paraha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshatakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years, and extinguishes fire of conditional life for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime recognition for humanity at large, because it spreads the reason and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendent knowledge. It increases ocean transcendent bliss, enables to fully taste the nectar for which all with anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grant all benediction human beings. That you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendent names, you have vested all transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach by holy names. But I am so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than a joint street. One should be more taller than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to create wealth, nor do I desire deeds for women, nor do I want any number for us. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Samarnanda, I'm an eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death, and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, when my voice choke up, when the hairs of my body stand and the recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation becomes a moment to be like a millennium. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I feel all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna, my Lord, and shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam Ki Jai. Shri Guru Pranama prayers Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachate Desha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Gokshi Varshabhani Devi Daidaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Shurupa Nuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Veruda Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Saksha Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Pumistvam Nirdeshta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Savabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishin Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinapanto Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Surto Pango Mamamanda Matirkati Masarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyed Vindaranya Kaupajumadaha Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shrimad Radha Shri Govinda Devo Prishtaribi Sevamano Svarami Shriman Rasa Rasaram Vivam Sivata Tatasthita Karsham Vinusana Gopir Gopinatha Shri Yesunaha Tapta Kanchana Gauranti Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradya Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukha Pariksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhi Rabhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Krinum Karandantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Parharvatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kantarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantakala Savanamare Vamshi Ranangadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tripanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Anganyasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashanti Panti Karayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimmaya Satuchara Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavasara Sampragamyo Vayurathapi Manaso Munipangavanan Sopyasi Yaprapada Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sora Chaitum Jagatanta Kotim Yachakti Rasti Jagatanta Chayaya Danta Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Bhava Pavitadiyo Manuchastateva Samprapya Rupa Mimasanayana Bhusha Suktaryam Eva Nikama Patitai Stuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananta Chimmaya Rasa Patipavitapi Sthapiya Eva Nijarupataya Kalapi Goloka Eva Nivasati Kalatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamena Tishtam Nanavatara Makaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin. And he is the prime cause of all causes. Go ahead.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, He is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and at the same time. Such is the primal Lord whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the primal Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Sakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, who is Shyamasundara Krishna himself with inconceivable innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrisimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions.
Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai. Glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janma Dasya Yata Divyat Itaratas Chate Sovigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hidaya Dikavaye Muyantiyat Surayaha Techo Vari Midam Yata Vinimayo Yata Sago Misha Damna Swena Sadanirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, all pervading personality, Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto Radha Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion as one is bewildered. By the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations in the material world. I meditate upon him because he is the absolute truth. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Dharma Pujita Kaitravocha Paramo Nirmatsanam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapo Trayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parir Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridya Varudyate Trakriti Vihisusuvistakshana. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, in his maturity is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears this message of Bhagavatam by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3. Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita dravya samyatam pibata Bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aho raskabu vibhavaka. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired true Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami, therefore this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Gaura Premanandi, Haribo, Haribo. So today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 12, verse number 21. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paskati Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Huh? 24? No. Well, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. 24. Sorry. Pulaho nabito jajne pulastya karnayor rishi angira mukhato krishna trir marichir manaso bhavat pulaha, the sage Pulaha, Nabita, from the navel, Jajne, generated, Pulastya, the sage Pulastya, Karnayo, from the ears, Rishi, the great sage, Angira, the sage Angira, Mukata, from the mouth, Akrishna, from the eyes, Atri, the sage Atri, Marichi, the sage Marichi, Manasa, from the mind, Abhavat, appeared. Translation. Pulastya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Okay, so go on to the next one. Before that, I wanted to reread. No, it's okay. We'll go forward. Text 25. Pulastya, I'm sorry. Dharma stana dakshinato yatra narayana swayam adharma pristato yasman mityurloka bhayankara. Dharma, religion. Stanad, from the breast. Dakshinata, on the right side. Yatra, wherein. Narayana, the Supreme Lord. Swayam, personally. Adharma, irreligion. Pristata, from the back. Yasmad, from which. Mrityu, death. Loka, to the living entity. Bhayankara, horrible. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. And irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity. So who would like to read the purport? Go ahead.
purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. That religion was manifested from the place where the personality of Godhead is personally situated is very significant because religion means devotional service to the personality of Godhead as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita as well as the Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the last instruction is to give up all other engagements in the name of religion and take shelter of the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that the highest perfection of religion is that which leads to the devotional service of the Lord, unmotivated and unhampered by material impediments. Religion in its perfect form is the devotional service of the Lord, and irreligion is just the opposite. The heart is the most important part of the body, whereas the back is the most neglected part. When one is attacked by an enemy, one is apt to endure attacks from the back and protect himself carefully from all attacks on the chest. All types of irreligion spring from the back of Brahma, whereas real religion, the devotional service of the Lord, is generated from the chest, the seat of Narayana. Anything which does not lead to the devotional service of the Lord is irreligion, and anything which leads to the devotional service of the Lord is called religion.
Hari Bol. Thank you. So, there's some very interesting points made here. It says in Bhagavad Gita, the last instruction is to give up all other engagements in the name of religion and take shelter of the personality of Godhead. Sarvadharmam purityaja mam ekam saranam braja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshisyami ma suja. Let's take a look at that verse. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 66th verse. Who would like to read? We'll take turns reading. This is a long purport. 1866. Just read the verse first.
Okay,
in
Maharaj.
English. In English.
Translation by Prabhupada. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions and do not fear. Purport by Prabhupada. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion, knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender unto Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him.
The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa. I'll skip the verse, Prabhupada.
Go ahead.
According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order. But if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory process by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once, be freed from all sinful reactions.
One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision, some of them are attracted by the super soul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of whole Bhagavad Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists, but one who is pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, ma shucha, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless.
It's a wonderful purport, a wonderful verse. So, the process of surrender to Krishna is described in Hari Bhakti Vilasa. Anukuyena Krishnana Salanam, Patikuyena Varjanam, Rakshishya Titi Vishwaso. Vishwaso. Gopchutve Varanam Tata. Atmanik Sepa Karpanye Sadvida Saranagati. So, Anukuyena Sankalpa. Accept everything favorable for Krishna consciousness. Pratikuyena. Pratikuyasya Varjanam. Reject everything unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. Rakshishya Titi Vishwaso. Consider Krishna your only protector. Gopchitve Varanam Tatam. That Krishna would be the maintainer and one who gives, one who will always be there to help you in all circumstances. And then Atmaniksepa Karpanye, always remain meek and humble in the process of devotional service. So these are the 6 types of surrender to the Lord. And it says, according to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. So, besides this, it says also in this purport, Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that the highest perfection of religion is that which leads to the devotional service of the Lord, unmotivated and unhampered. So this is a definition of pure love of the Lord. And it is from the first canto, second chapter, 6th verse. Savai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir hoksuje ahituki pratihata yayat masu prasiditi. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6. And it says, the supreme occupation, or dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So this is a definition of pure Krishna consciousness. And that's why it says, Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that the highest perfection of religion is that which leads to the devotional service of the Lord, unmotivated by any material desires and unhampered by material impediments. Okay, so the purport to this verse is very important. This is the definition of pure devotional service. So, do you have it, Prabhu? You have the purport?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
1.2.6.
No,
1.6. Point.
You want to do?
You read already?
Already made.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Purport.
1.2.6, yeah.
In this statement, Sri Suta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Nimai Sharna.
Naimi Sharanya.
Naime Sharna. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up.
See? So this is the number one statement of what is pure devotional service. Go ahead.
The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human being. One is called Paravriti Marg, or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called Nivritti Marg, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence, or Brahma Bhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusionary, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries and temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusionary, is inferior. But devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for
abnegation means giving things up.
Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service of the Lord, without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposely
Perpetual
denoted solace in his service. We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living pivot. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else in his part and parcel.
Is his part and parcel.
Everything else in his part and parcel.
Is his part and parcel.
Is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial.
That means happiest.
From of intimacy. One can realize it is a devotional service progress.
Wait a minute. One can realize it as
devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction.
So this is a very important verse. Savai pumsa paro dharmo yatu bhakti rahoksaje haituki pratihata yatma supersidity. This is the answer to the sages who asked Sutta Goswami summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. So here you see one verse that summarizes the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness and how to properly execute it to go back to Godhead. And this is right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6. So, therefore, Prabhupada says in the purport today, religion in its perfect form is the devotional service of the Lord, and irreligion is just the opposite. So, unfortunately, we see just the opposite everywhere. And the only place you can see something that represents pure devotional service is in the temple, where everyone is focused on trying to please Radha and Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. That conviction that pleasing Radha and Krishna and Srila Prabhupada is the real goal of life purifies the heart of the devotee and makes the life of the devotee very easy, because the Lord will help. He promises, Kotya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Declare it loudly, O Arjuna, that my devotee will never perish. So he's promising the devotee that he will always give protection, give knowledge, give every type of support so that the devotee can be successful in the devotional service of the Lord. This is also explained. Anya bilasita sunyam jnana karma yanavritam anukuyena krishnana silanam bhaktir uttama. So this is a verse written by Rupa Goswami that explains what is uttama bhakti, or the top most form of devotional service. And it says, uttama bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is so this is from the Nectar of Instruction. And this verse, Anya Bilasita Sunyam, Jnana Karma Yavad Anarbatam, is a verse and from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11. So it actually defines what is devotional service. So here we have Savai Pumsa Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Rahaksaje Haitaki Pratyata Yatmas Prasidati, first canto and second chapter, 6th verse, explaining what is the topmost form of devotional service. And then you have the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that explains the same thing, Anya Bilasita Sunyam. So we'll read a little bit more about that. Prabhupada says, Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Shri Prahlad Maharaj recommends Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are 9 types of devotional service. So here now we're hearing a major difference between Mayavad philosophy and Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadis want to stop everything and just meditate for their own personal liberation. The devotees don't want to stop anything. They want to act in a positive way to progress Krishna consciousness by Sankirtan, by lectures, by festivals, by prasadam distribution, by so many different ways, by cow protection. They want to actively progress Krishna consciousness. They're not interested in their own salvation. They're interested in helping others attain salvation from the cycle of birth and death. This is completely different than what the Mayavadis are doing. It's almost like completely opposite. Okay, so what are these 9 types of devotional service? Shravanam, hearing about Krishna. Well, that's what we do on a regular basis. And then, by hearing about Krishna, we acquire transcendental knowledge. one should never give up oral reception. One should not give oral reception, one should never listen to people who are not bona fide devotees, because they will mislead you. But we should approach the proper person to teach us what is Krishna consciousness. Tat vidi paripratena paripasnena sevaya upadekshyami te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. This is Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 34th verse. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Okay, so these are all precious, instructions. So from now on, if someone says to you, what are you all about? This Krishna consciousness. Can you sort of summarize it? Yes. Savai pumsa parodharmo yato bhaktira hoksaje ahaituki apatyata atma suprasidati. That means that 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 6th verse, the supreme occupation, or dharma. Now, dharma means action. It doesn't mean meditation, right? The supreme occupation, or dharma, for all humanity is that by which men and women can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Well, that's very interesting. We never interrupt the deity worship. We don't say, well, let's take a vacation, we'll sort of pack up the deities and stop the service for about a week or two and have a vacation. No. It's uninterrupted and unmotivated. It's not that I'm going to become rich by doing pujas, or I'm going to become famous by initiating many people, or I'm going to become this, or I'm going to become that. It has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Those are the two fundamental principles. As it says, a height to key. I mean, there's no material desire. A pratihata, and it's unending, it's unbroken. There's never any stoppage. Then, suprasidati, one becomes satisfied in their heart. Now, this is not an easy thing for many people, because they think, oh, well, we have to have a break, there's too much doing this, too much doing that. But do you take a break from eating? Do you take a break from sleeping? Do you take a break from bathing? Or, you see, there are things that you're doing every day that you feel is necessary to do. So it's the same thing. Devotional service is something necessary that we should do every day. Then we become happy and we become blessed by the mercy of the Lord, and we can make spiritual advancement like that. Okay, so Prabhupada says at the end of this verse today, Canto 3, Chapter 12, verse 25, anything which does not lead to the devotional service of the Lord is irreligion, and anything which leads to the devotional service of the Lord is called religion. So our activities should lead to the what? Devotional service of the Lord. So when you give, let's say, a goodness cookie to someone. So they read some of the text, then they eat the cookie, right? And they get some spiritual benefit from it, right? They're associating with a prasadam through the cookie. They're reading about the kids that make it or the people that make it. And ultimately, they understand it's Hare Krishna. So these are different ways of helping people who are not Krishna conscious to become Krishna conscious. Now, you might say, well, it costs so much money to make that, and so much time and effort to make that cookie. Well, yeah, that's a fact. But it's not wasted time, because eventually people become positive about Krishna consciousness. That's what we want. We want them to see Krishna consciousness as something that's worthwhile, something that is pertinent to their life and happiness and purpose in this world. Then you start to make a lot of friends. You start to make a lot of what you would call devotees. Right? Ultimately, they begin wholeheartedly to engage in devotional service. Like they might say, "Oh, can I also learn how to make those cookies and help you?" So now you have a person who never did anything before. Is coming to the temple regularly and is helping out make the cookies because they see a value in it. The value is it's helping people come closer to Krishna. They feel it themselves, and now they want to help others also to do it. So these are different methods. Just like oftentimes many people develop a very positive attitude because of our food trucks, right? I mean, you have so many stories, right, of people are very, let's say, happy that we do that. You don't have to do it. Why should you do it? It's a lot of effort, right? It costs a lot of money also. Keeping those trucks moving all the time. There are repairs, there's this, there's that. Vain. Then these festivals, you know, it requires a lot of planning, a lot of money, and some people say, "Oh, it's so difficult to do." But if you see a result, and the result is little by little you're contacting more and more people about Krishna consciousness, then it's worthwhile. And new people come and they learn more and more about Krishna. So how do you get them in the door? That's the thing. Just like if you're out on Sankirtan, you try and stop someone to talk to them about Krishna, and they say, "No, I don't have any time, please excuse me," you know. So we're making that effort to try and help people learn about Krishna. So therefore we do book distribution also, and we do preaching programs. All these things are beneficial not only for the person that receives them, but for us, because we suddenly realize, actually, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to help others. And the greatest, let's say, joy that I feel is to gradually see someone become Krishna conscious. Someone who is completely not Krishna conscious now is becoming Krishna conscious and becoming inspired to chant, dance, and come to classes or come to the programs in the temple. So therefore, the devotee never feels as if they're wasting time. They feel as if this is the most necessary activity that I should focus on, besides all the other necessary activities that I have in my life. But this is the one that is the most, let's say, fortunate and the most positive and the most beneficial for my well-being and for other people's well-being. Okay, so are there any questions? So we covered a bunch of very nice verses. Number one was Sarvadharma Prityaja Mami Kamsaram Raja, 18th chapter, 66th verse. We also read the purport carefully. You can reread them. These are monumental purports. And then we heard the verse, Savai Pumsa Paro Dharmo Yata Bhakti Rahaksaje. This is the quintessential explanation of what is pure devotional service. And it should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. And then we heard Anya Bilasita Sunyam Yanakar Madhyanavratam Anukulyani Krishnana Salanam Bhaktir Uttama. What is the definition of pure bhakti? Let me read that again. Uttama bhakti, or unalloyed devotion. The word unalloyed, an alloy, is a mixture of metals. When it says unalloyed, that means you have one metal and it's not corrupted by any other metal, right? So devotional service means unalloyed devotion, that you're only engaged in pure devotional service, you have no other purpose. Right? So Uttama Bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive. It's not that, well, if I go out on Sankirtan, then I can distribute this and that, and I'll keep some of the money. So we do have people that try and earn a living by doing Sankirtan. But it doesn't really become Sankirtan. It becomes what you call it becomes a business, or scam kirtan. There's a difference between Samkirtan and scam kirtan. Right. So they go out there and scam. They say, oh, this is for the children in India, right? Starving children in India. So they cheat people and they take some money. And basically, they're earning a living like that. There are people like that. In fact, there used to be a lot of people like that. There's less now. So we don't want to get to that position where we're using devotional service for our own sense gratification. Okay, so this devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive, I mean, any material motive, and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So these are three very important verses explaining pure devotional service. Actually, four. Yeah. Are there any questions or comments?
So I think the one that catches my attention, bhakti is a sort of cultivation.
That means active
duty. So we were having some conversations with some friend. So
you got a lot of friends.
And so I think they're into more of this meditative process. So I think, I mean, in this one, how do we, because it seems like more work for them.
You mean devotional service?
Yeah.
Right. They already have a lot of work to do. It's just extra work.
Extra work.
Yeah.
Whereas the meditation is the way of disengaging, and then they feel the peace, kind of withdrawal from the world. So they feel like, that's giving them instant joy. So obviously we are tasting it. Now it's something that, they kind of understand how we are willing to spend extra time and do all these things. Whereas,
A lot of things.
Mhm.
Well, how much do they actually meditate? You see. The whole purpose of Mayavad philosophy is to meditate completely and not be engaged in any activity, because they believe that any activity will lead to karma. So they want to free themselves from all karmas. So if you don't do anything, you don't have any karma. Actually, that's not true, because by not doing anything, you create karma also. But you see, what do they mean by meditation? Is it like 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night? Or what are they talking about exactly?
Yeah, it's mostly early in the morning, half an hour of some maybe 20-30 minutes of meditation maximum.
Yeah.
So, and then the rest of the day go back with their sense gratification.
Unfortunately, yeah. So it's another, little tricky game that they're playing with themselves and with others. Oh, I'm meditating now. And I feel a lot of peace. Yeah, okay, there is something there. We don't deny that. But there's much more happiness and much more positive, let's say, experience by engaging in meaningful devotional service. We're actually helping other people overcome the causes of misery: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, enviousness. Overcoming those things, you become really happy. Just meditating on nothing or some light for half an hour a day or an hour a day, it gives you some relief, but it's not actually positive. It's a negative thing. Why? Because you're stopping activity. The activity of helping others become Krishna conscious is the most, what you would call, beneficial activity. There's a difference between helping oneself and helping others. So you can help yourself and help others at the same time by engaging in devotional service. If you just engage in meditation, you're trying to help yourself, but you're not really trying to help others. So we should get the best benefit by helping ourselves and helping others make spiritual advancement, by active devotional service. Okay, so Dharma means action. Dharma means action. You're engaging in devotional activities. That is the real Dharma. Yeah. So, have you ever convinced a friend who meditates to meditate on the holy name of the Lord?
I mean, that's what we have been sharing, and I think they do see that we are more enthusiastic in what we are doing, so they're puzzled somewhat sometimes. Like what is that they are
There are
getting?
examples, of people that you have inspired to chant.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they've taken it up seriously.
yeah. I mean, if they watch closely,
Mm-hmm.
or they associate for some time,
Mm-hmm.
then they overcome their misconceptions, and then
And if they
get,
see you're genuine,
yeah,
you have no tricks or
exactly.
nothing like that. Then they want to associate with genuine people.
Yeah.
They're honest, clean, have no material, let's say, agenda for doing this Hare Krishna stuff. It's purely to please Prabhupada and Krishna and others. So that's what we have to project, that genuineness, that honesty, that cleanliness, that genuine compassion. Right? Okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. And Maharaj, these festivals are helping us to engage even new people immediately in devotional service.
Yeah.
Many times I have experienced that. In
Yeah.
like 4th of July as well. I was talking to some friend, they immediately said, yes, I will come to roll the bhaturas or
Nice.
for the rolling. Immediately, the very first time they came. And they, like this is just one very recent example, but every festival I'm
The
experiencing.
question is, are they going to come again?
Yes, Maharaj.
All right.
They are
then-
signing
then
up
you're
for Anand
succeeding.
Mela. So they said, yeah, we will also roll in Anand Mela as well. So it's like a series. We are just getting connected.
Yeah.
Like every festival, I'm experiencing new people are getting engaged directly in the service, like without any much effort.
That's our purpose for having festivals.
Yes, Maharaj.
Engaging people. That is our purpose.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So at the July 4th event, we were sharing, Prabhuji and I, we were sharing some cards introducing the Anand Mela festival. We met one Indian family, and then they were all very enthusiastic about volunteering. The man of the family, he says, oh yeah, I can help you with the setup. I always help with our beer party setup.
There you go.
So
So he's
we
going
said,
from beer setup to Krishna setup.
yeah, I said like,
That's
okay,
a
now
big-
is the
that's a
now
big
is the
event.
opportunity for you to purify.
Yeah.
Your same efforts, you will do it here, you will
He
purify
actually
you.
said that, the Indian guy?
Yeah, he said that.
Well, he wants to do service, right? So now he's going to do real service, Krishna service, instead of beer service. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Can I be part of the